Existence operates as a continuous, twisting loop where descent and ascent fold into the exact same surface. Traversing the physical world means traversing the return. This circuit is defined by two primary variables. First, the light caustic, or L. This represents the timeless, deterministic divine command, the gauge invariance and fixed vector constraints that we recognize as physical law. Opposing this is the second variable, the sound caustic, or S. This is the domain of temporal thermodynamics. It governs entropy, Carnot cycles, and the directional arrow of time that moves all physical matter toward decay. Between these two fields sits the buffer, denoted as B. The buffer is the mediating zone of consciousness and measurement. It functions through a finite decoherence time, a physical delay where observation and choice are processed. Direct contact between timeless command and temporal entropy would cause an immediate collapse of the system. The human buffer provides the necessary interface, allowing reality to process divine light into manifested form without experiencing total annihilation. The interaction between light, sound, and the buffer manifests as a rigid 12-stage circuit called the tree of return. The apex represents the divine source. As the circuit descends, energy moves through increasing physical manifestation and the density of material constraint. Every spiritual and physical process follows this architecture, traveling down into manifestation and back up again to complete the cycle. Navigating this circuit presents a mechanical challenge. The trajectory must execute a complete reversal of direction at the bottom of the loop while maintaining the continuous flow of information. Spiritual movement within this framework operates as a literal thermodynamic circuit. A failure to complete the path results in entropic collapse and a total dissipation of energy. Completing the circuit provides the regenerative pulse that physically sustains the universe. The process begins at node 1, inspiration. This initial divine impulse follows a deterministic descent into node 2, action, and node 3, guidance. The trajectory then hits its first major resistance at node 4, the cleanse. At this node, the system applies the Rahim operator. This mathematical boundary discriminator forces a binary 0 or 1 outcome. The operator functions like a purifying fire, stripping away entropic debris and false intentions that cannot survive the physical constraints of the system. Surviving this filter makes the trajectory topologically orientable. The debris is gone, and the system is prepared to execute the upcoming structural twist. The trajectory enters node 5, the righteousness buffer. This sits at the center of the B node mediating zone. At this point, the path executes a Möbius twist. The downward trajectory flips to face upward without any break in the continuous flow of energy. This mechanical action embodies the principle of ahad, the absolute singularity that holds opposing directions within a single continuous structure. From the twist, the path branches horizontally into node 6, representing faith and adaptive water, and node 7, representing blasting and fixed fire. The distance between these nodes corresponds to a decoherence time of 0.83 seconds. This oscillation between adaptation and fixity creates the stable psychological present. Human righteousness acts as the universe's topological buffer. It bends deterministic fate into ascending free will, while maintaining the mathematical laws of the circuit. The forces of water and fire converge at node 8, defined as the servant. Node 8 is a state of maximum tension and absolute stillness. It is the transition point where the system decides between collapse and ascent. This state maps to the inflection point of a cubic curve, where the discriminant, delta, equals 0. Here, the operator and the operand align perfectly. The commander and the one submitting become one, effectively removing all friction from the system. In cubic functions, a discriminant of 0 indicates a triple root, a point of perfect balance. By reaching this state, the system transitions from a single forced trajectory into a branching state where 3 distinct real solutions become possible. This alignment converts downward physical pressure into a launch point for the system's ascent. Perfect submission provides the exact mathematical conditions required for upward movement. The field shoots sharply upward from the servant node, branching into two distinct vertical paths. Node 9 is submission, the light field, purified of entropy, ascending towards its source. Node 10 is sacrifice, the sound field undergoing its final structural test. A horizontal stabilizing force of divine support flows between them, preventing drift as the system expands. The universe evolves through this bifurcation. It separates the entropic fragments that dissipate into the void from the regenerative seed preserving the structure of reality. The path from Node 9 continues upward into Node 11, defined as truth. Truth is not discovered through trial and error. In this circuit, it is inherited intact across the buffer and preserved through the final ascent. The lines from Node 11 and Node 10 converge at the ultimate apex, Node 12, the source of light. This is the return to al-Kitab, the mother of the book. The circuit is now closed. The dispersed elements of creation have been reconcentrated into a single fixed point. The chaotic many have returned to the unified one. The crown of this system represents the complete restoration of the original divine impulse, tested by entropy, purified by fire, and returned structurally intact. This 12-node architecture is governed by the 4 verses of Surah al-Ikhlas. Verse 1, Ahad, maps to the absolute singularity, the direct, unbroken transmission of light through the center of the system. Verse 2, As-Samad, maps to the oscillatory path. It provides the refuge of structural stability through the interaction of fire and water. Verses 3 and 4 describe the non-generative and non-generated paths. These are the Möbius twists that loop the system back upon itself, maintaining the circuit without creating separate entities. Once light reaches the apex, it arcs back down to restart the cycle. The circuit breathes in a state of perpetual recursion. The thermodynamic cycle of the physical universe and the theological journey of the human soul share a single mathematical engine. They are two expressions of a unified topology, sealed and preserved for eternity.